Hey there, y'all. How's it going today? Happy Friday, huh? Yeah, we made it to another weekend. You know what I just heard? I just heard the star of the show. He's in the house already. So that's good, huh? Hey, I was wanting to talk about laying worker hives. Um, there is a lot of different ways to deal with them, but there's something that a lot of people aren't covering that is going to be costing you a lot in the way of resources when it comes to dealing with laying workers. So um, there is there's two ways that I like the most, and they save you the most resources, and they're pretty efficient in performing the method. So all right, be right back. Something like that, right? About there? That's good, huh? Hopefully you can hear me. Um, so first thing you need to do is determine if you have laying workers or do you have a drone laying queen. There's a lot of videos on that, so I don't want to make this video really extensive, and I want to try to keep this one a little more on point because, you know, the way people are dealing with this laying worker stuff with their videos are not real clear with like a best way really, or like discussing a lot of the different methods. So anyways, once you determine if you have a drone laying queen or laying workers, then you can go on to the next step. How is it you're going to deal with them? This is going to focus on laying workers only. A lot of the stuff is going to be the same, but at least with a drone laying queen, you have some time to fight. You have some time to save resources. You have some time to deal with that. It's a lot easier of an issue to handle. Laying workers is a total other battle. I mean, you might be able to save that hive, okay? Let's say you only have one or two hives. Then I would be more apt to try to save that hive. But if I have like, 5 or 10 hives, then I'm going to be more apt to save resources more than I would a hive. You know what I mean? So, all right. So anyways, you have the different, we'll just go over the different methods and stuff at first. Like the first method is adding resources. And basically when they talk about adding resources to a hive, they mean like pulling a frame of brood out of a strong hive that, and the frame has to have a lot of like open brood, eggs, a lot of stuff that they can make into a queen cell. So pull a frame of brood like that and put it into the laying worker hive. There's not a whole lot of success at that. I've tried it and stuff, and I never had any luck. I've tried it several times. I had a battle with drone laying queens and stuff, and eventually I had a bunch of laying workers, and eventually, yeah, and it's all because of a treatment, which I'll tell the chemical formula, formic acid, but I'm not going to say the brand, right? So, yeah, but so anyways, adding resources is one way that I would say if you catch the hive soon enough, if you catch it early enough, that could probably work, you know. But I was never able to catch one early enough, so for me it was always too late. The next method is combining hives, and that pretty much always works, okay, because there's like 2 or 3 different ways you can combine them, okay? Like this one way, it's guaranteed to work, all right? But you're going to have a lot of bees die too. So here, the one method, I just call it like a slam combine. And I mean, what you do is you get a strong hive, and then you get your laying worker hive, and you just take the lid off your strong one, put your laying worker hive on the strong one, and let them figure it out. Okay? And they will combine, but a lot of them are going to fight too. So I've never done it, but I have made attempts at other ways, in which we're getting ready to go over. There are some other combines too. Here, you have the trusty old newspaper combine, which people have been doing that for quite some time. The thing is, with the newspaper combine, I have had almost the same thing happen as like a slam combine before. Here, if you put the newspaper down and stuff, you can still wind up with a lot of dead bees out on the landing board, or like laying in front of the hive. And to see if that does happen, you can put like a trough down there in front of your hive, and you'll see if you did have a big battle or not. It's pretty easy to do. So, and then there's a combine that I've done in the past that they won't fight, and that's using 1/8" beekeepers hardware cloth. And the reason why it works so well for them to recombine back together is because they're able to transfer the queen mandibular pheromone very easily through that hardware cloth. You can't use window screen, and you can't really use 1/4" because the bees make it through 1/4" hardware cloth. So here with the 1/8", they're able to use their antenna, and they touch their antenna on each other through that screen. So, and that they get a total equilibrium then with the pheromones. So when you get done with that, pull off the box, pull off the screen, put the box back on, you won't hardly have a single bee die. Usually I'll have one or two, like whenever you put a trough to see to witness if you had a bee battle or not. I never have more than like 3 or 4 bees out on that in that catch trough. And I'm thinking, whenever I do see bees in that catch trough, it's natural deaths, because you have so many bees dying every day. And I'm talking, I'll leave that trough out there for a whole day, and I'll barely have any bees wind up in that thing. So that's a good way to combine, but I don't recommend it for dealing with laying workers. None of these combined methods I recommend. I don't recommend the adding resources either, unless you do catch it really early and stuff. So I guess you could say that with the combines too, if you catch it early enough. Here's a key thing about catching it early enough. One way you can tell is if you don't have the drone cappings yet. So once you start getting drone cappings, what does that tell you? That means that you've had a drone laying queen or a drone laying worker or several workers for at least 9 days, right? So once you start seeing capped drones in worker comb, then you're over a week, you're a week and a half to 2 weeks in. So that you can kind of judge what kind of method you want to use then, So, and then let's see, there's a method that I'm interested in. I haven't tried it, but Jason Chrisman does something that is similar to, well, he has like the same concerns that I have with the resources. The first thing he addresses is getting all the bees off of the comb, getting that comb and throwing it in a freezer. Okay, makes sense? How many of you have experience with laying workers? What happens with the comb is, and this is the thing, with all these methods I'm talking about, you're also having to decide, you're fighting the clock, okay? You're having to decide, it's like, okay, do I want to save this hive, or do I want to save like the all of the combs and stuff in the hive? Once you get past a certain point, it's almost not worth trying to save the hive. And one of those things can be if you're starting to see a lot of capped drones or not. Okay, so far hopefully you're following me and this stuff's clear, hopefully. So I'll post a link to Jason Chrisman's video, and you'll see what he does. He does save the hive. He does keep the hive in the same position, and the hive rejuvenates and stuff. Now, you might want to ask on this video, like, what's his percentage of success? Because, I mean, it's not like I have to deal with laying workers very often. He might not either, but I'd ask him, it's like, hey, does this work 50% of the time, 90%? You know, I'd ask him that. And then there's Barnyard Bees method of dealing with laying workers. And the way he does it is he'll basically, let's say you got to have several beehives for this, at least like 10, well, at least 5, 10, something like that. And what he'll do, he'll get the laying worker hive, he'll pull one frame out, put it in another hive. You hear that thunder? Yeah, thunder gets nasty here. Like, I've never heard thunder like you do here. It's crazy here. I think it's because we're a mile up in the air, or half a mile. And man, the thunder, it sounds like it's just all around you. Yeah, I'm a Buckeye kid, okay, and I wasn't used to that growing up. I've lived here for about 15 years, okay. I mean, I know it's coming and stuff, but I still ain't used to it. So, okay. I might get out of Dodge here in a minute, just so you know. So Barnyard Bees, yeah, he'll pull one frame out, put it in another hive, get another frame, put it in another hive, and go on down the line. That way he's not losing any of his bees really, and you know, he's distributing the bees all throughout the rest of his apiary, so he's not out anything. He's out that one hive, but that's it. All right, it's starting to rain. Be right back. Yep, it's raining. Okay, hopefully it's not echoey on the porch here. So, all right, so we went over all the basic methods, right? First, determine what you have, if you have laying workers or not. There's lots of videos to determine that. It's pretty easy to do. You have the add and resources method. You have the 3 different combines method. You have Jason Chrisman's method, Barnyard Bees method, and then you have the method that what most of the old timer, you know, experienced beekeepers talk about, and there's some wisdom to that. Okay, it's because people aren't really thinking far enough ahead as far as like the beehives and resources and all that stuff go. I mean, you do hate to get to like lose a hive or go down a hive. So, you know, if you only have a few hives, then, you know, by all means try one of the other methods. And here, that Jason Chrisman method, once you see it, I think it's the most, you will save the most resources, the most bees, the most, you know, but it takes some time to do that, and you need to be prepared for it too. You need to have like a virgin queen ready, or maybe a mated queen. So, but if you can do that, you know, and you need to save a hive, then that's, you know. But if you have several hives and you don't, necessarily, have that much as much invested, in that one laying worker hive, then I would recommend doing the thing that the old timers do, and that's shake out all the frames. Okay, like the way I shake my frames out, you're going to lose a hive. Okay, now you're not really losing the whole hive, but you are losing it as far as its own standalone hive. What you're doing is you're going to be dispersing its resources to all of your other hives. Okay, so if you only have a couple hives, then yeah, try one of the other methods. I recommend Jason Chrisman's. If you have the resources to do that. The virgin queen is going to be tough. The mated queen will be tough. But anyways, the way I do the shaking out frames is just get the hive and move it out of its position first. Okay? Now, when you have several hives and stuff, just main thing is get close to one of your other hives, like a good size hive, and start shaking the frames out right in front of it. Okay, or shake them out in front of several other ones. And that way what's going to happen is here's a kind of a thing that people don't think of. The nurse bees, right? Is that a big concern of everyone? Like if you're going to shake frames out, let's say you go 100 yards away or something, you start shaking frames out, and then you see a pile of bees down on the ground there, you're thinking, oh, there's nurse bees mixed in with those laying worker bees, right? Well, think about this. When you got your frame, okay, and you started seeing capped drone brood in your frames, what does that tell you? That means that whatever it was that started laying drones and worker brood and worker comb, it's been at least 9 days since there was any worker brood hatching. So, what else does that tell us? That means that all of the nurse bees that have been taking care of the drones and everything, their wings are hardened up now. They can fly. Now, they might not know how to get back to the hive yet. Okay? They may not have had any kind of flights or anything yet, but they can fly. So that's the whole point of when you shake out your frames, shake them out in front of a hive, and all of the, since they're right next to the hive, it's going to be really easy for the nurses to fly up and into whatever hives you have around, and whatever bees can't fly, what are those? We know what they are now, don't we? Those are the laying workers. Those ones are not going to make it back into a hive. If they do, chances are, I'm thinking their hormones are going to, or pheromones, their pheromones are going to be detected and they're going to just get chased off. So, so that's the thing about the shaking the frames. You save, you do go down a beehive, but you save you save all your worker bees because your workers are going to disperse. Once you shake the frame, all of your nurse bees are able to fly, and they'll just make it to the hive since they can smell them and everything. They're going to make it to the nearest hive they can get to. The laying workers are they're just out of luck unless they can reverse their pheromones quickly, And here's the other thing. That comb that you just shook out, make sure that you either get that comb into a freezer or you set it outside so that any of that brood that's in there, if the comb's not yet destroyed, okay, and this is where the other part about the sooner you can do this, the sooner you can deal with these laying workers, the better for all of your combs. Because the longer those brood develop inside that comb, they're just going to destroy it. They're going to make it look like the surface of the moon, dead serious. It's just going to be all cratered out, and I don't think that the bees can ever use that comb again. I've never seen them really do anything with it. I've never really tested that theory, like I didn't put them in a hive through a major nectar flow or anything, but you know, the way that they follow imprints and stuff, yeah, there's no imprints left. You're all you see is these great big craters in the comb. So you're saving a lot more. You're saving your workers, you're saving your nurses, you're saving all your comb, and you're down a hive, but you just spread all that stuff along your other hives. It's still all in use in your apiary. So, and now that I have a number of hives, that's the way that I like to deal with them. If I only had one or two, I'd do the Jason Chrisman way if I had a queen. If I didn't have a queen and I only had one or two hives, I'd do the Barnyard Bees way. Divide, well, maybe not. You know, all these rabbit holes everywhere. So, okay. Well, y'all, have a good weekend and stuff. Happy Friday, and hope you have a good weekend with the bees. See y'all. Bye.